There was a little bit of news with Javion Osborne, but we're going to start back right. You want to talk about Rodney Dunham, right?
Yeah, I mean this is the one for me. This is kind of my white whale of recruiting. Mostly, just to put some. Let me get his exact stats up here. So there he is. Bam. He is 247, 33rd overall composite ranked, number 4 edge. 24/7 themselves have him as the 14th overall and second ranked edge in the nation. This is top flight pass rusher. Notre Dame does not get these. And to kind of put that into context of like, what do you mean Notre Dame doesn't get these? He would be the first top 20 player at that position since 2011. And to go even further, and how barren Notre Dame has been at recruiting this position, that 2011 class had Aaron Lynch, who was number 9, Ishaq Williams, who was 26, and Stephon Tuitt, who's more weak side, but was 32. The last time Notre Dame signed an edge rusher who was ranked in the top 100, do you know?
I think I know because you maybe shared it with me earlier. Was it 2011?
It was 2011. Yeah, because they have it.
Okay.
It wasn't just top 5. It wasn't just or top 15. It wasn't just top 50.
Mm-hmm.
It was top 100 because the last guy.
That's crazy.
It is absolutely ridiculous. Bryce Young was 73, so it's top 50. Bryce Young was 73. He was the highest. Before him, the highest ranked was Joshua Burnham at 109. In the Dalen Hayes, if you're curious, was 132. Who else was up there? Yeah, that's it. That's the list.
Well, he announces his commitment April 10th, so they got a little bit of time, but it's coming up 9 days or so from now. It's going to be between Duke, Notre Dame, Georgia, Tennessee, and South Carolina. If everybody's curious why Duke is in there, North Carolina.
He's a North Carolina kid, yeah.
Yeah. So obviously high upside pass rusher. On3 also ranks him extremely high too. So there's really no there's no like crazy difference between these recruiting sites. It's pretty much a consensus top flight 4-star, number 7 recruit for them in the entire 2026 class. That would be an insane get for Notre Dame. That's
not sincere Lynch. Yeah,
that would be. Yeah, it's exactly what we were just talking about. Where if you could get an individual who is like that, that's a game wrecker or potential game wrecker. Now, obviously, we see a lot of great, recruits all across the country. Maybe not, live up in quotes to that actual potential ability or that they were, thought to have had. But this is the type of person that fixes that. And he's something Notre Dame is certainly, as you mentioned, not exactly accustomed to recruiting.
And he's one of those guys that isn't just like Keon Keeley was one of those guys, but he was a guy for the frame. Like he had the frame of a 5-star, so he got the rankings. Like this is a player that has the frame and has the tape too. So I'm pretty hype about it. If they could pull this off, it would be one of their bigger recruiting wins. Just because they haven't done it in so long.
Mm-hmm. Right now, I think for Notre Dame, I think the one that they have to be the most worried about is South Carolina. From the quick little bit of research that I did, I know South Carolina and Tennessee hosted them on multiple times. Usually, that's a fairly decent sign, especially right around like the springtime. I don't know. Has he been? I think he was recently also on campus.
He's gotten he was on
the junior day.
He was has he ever been on Notre Dame's campus? I know he's got an OV set for June. They offered him March 20. They offered him a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
And it does not look like he has been at least on an official visit. That'll come up.
Yes, he was. He was here on the 22nd.
Of March.
Yep.
There you go.
This year, yeah, I see it. So that's a really good sign. I mean, obviously in the top 5, you're kind of assuming he's hopefully been to the campus at some point. So that's not just top 5, but we're 5th kind of thing. I think that is definitely Notre Dame's in a position where they could potentially get him. Javion Osborne is another.
That's the name that's gained a lot of steam since he cut his list at 2, right?
Cut his list at 2, and Notre Dame is one of them. It's Notre Dame and Michigan. So obviously I got a text this morning talking a little bit about the outlook as far as what it is between Notre Dame and Michigan. Word is out in Michigan circles that he's kind of trending Notre Dame. Notre Dame's getting very aggressive, potentially with things regarding NIL and everything like that. They are the slight leader, and he's likely to make a decision in a few weeks and not wait for his official visits. Now, I know you had a perspective on Notre Dame's, way of recruiting that I thought was really, really interesting and insightful.
So one thing about him is, when was the last time he was at Michigan?
I could find that maybe a second, but I don't know for sure. But yeah.
So if it's down to Michigan and Notre Dame, and it comes down to and he's been to Michigan, and he's still got he's not going to take this. He's taken this battle off the fall. It's spring wrap up, so he gets his spring visits in. And he just had his Michigan, and the Notre Dame one's coming up, right? And then he's making this announcement.
He's potentially he canceled the remaining visits and only locked down the official visits to Michigan and Notre Dame. But the general whispers is that he's potentially going to commit even before those official visits and make his decision. And he might just drop out like the last official visit as well and only go to the team that he
ultimately decides on.
Yeah.
So if it's an instance where Notre Dame wants to get involved with it, if it's an NIL fight, I feel pretty good. Michigan did blow their bank recently with they got some crystal balls. Let's see here.
Well, I'm also looking at recruiting visits that were initially set up. This was in mid-March. That were initially set up, and obviously these aren't like official visits, but you had Notre Dame March 18th, so he's been to the area like fairly recently, but even more recently was Michigan on March 28th. Mm-hmm. So maybe he saw something there and he knew that those were going to be the two, so he didn't bother with Miami, which was scheduled initially for April 4th, and USC, which was scheduled initially for April 22nd.
So usually when it goes and you see a kid and he takes an official visit somewhere, and he decide, and coming out of that visit so when they have the visit, right, that's normally when you give your best sales pitch, and normally the visit couldn't have gone better. But when you're coming out of your OV to another school and the word on the street is that Notre Dame looks like the slight favorite coming off of the visit to Michigan, which he went this last weekend, I mean, and if it's a matter of NIL and Notre Dame is the leader in the clubhouse,
Marcus Freeman, as you were telling me before, what was Marcus Freeman's general perspective whenever it comes to these like bidding wars, if you will?
And you can see it as long as Marcus Freeman doesn't feel like he's being played, and as long as Marcus doesn't feel like there's needless drama, if the kid's being straightforward and everything's going on, Notre Dame will not lose an NIL fight, because Marcus Freeman will have the ability to open up the checkbook and do whatever he needs to do to get a kid that he wants onto campus. If Marcus feels like he's being played for money and being bartered against, or trying to pit schools against each other to try and escalate the payroll, Marcus will pull out. Does not want to play. He's very old school in that manner. If he sees handlers or family members getting involved trying to do stuff like that, Marcus will hit the ejector seat too, and that doesn't seem to be the case here. If it's truly just an NIL fight, Marcus Freeman, as long as he doesn't feel like he's being played or disrespected, will win. And, after the Peyton Bowen thing and the Keon Keeley thing, Marcus is done playing those sort of games. And, Notre Dame's compensation in NIL is not publicly made available, but from what I've heard and understand, they compensate their players quite handsomely. There have been schools who have tried to make runs at as recently as last year at players who are currently stars at the University of Notre Dame and offered them almost $500,000 NIL deals before they broke out. And Notre Dame matched it and said, "You're not going anywhere. You're staying here." I don't know if I can say the names. I would love to tell you them, but they will keep what they want. Nobody is going to outspend Notre Dame if they want to spend. So if the kid's being earnest and it's just about that, and it's just about the money and making his most, and it doesn't seem like he's being played, I have full confidence in Marcus Freeman being able to get this job done. If that's it. And if Notre Dame has a slight lead and it comes down to NIL, I mean, I don't know. I'd crystal ball it if I could. I mean, I can. Yeah, crystal ball it. Sure. What is a crystal ball? Right? Yeah. What is that? But, I feel pretty good about it.
Crystal ball predictions. It's certainly leaning towards Michigan, but if the idea is that even after this, if this is an NIL thing and
has anyone put in a crystal ball post the visit to Michigan?
That's a good question.
Because that's the thing too, is sometimes they put it like on 247, he's got a crystal ball, but that came at 221. That was in February.
Yeah.
And now he's had a trip to Ann Arbor, and the scuttle is that Notre Dame's the leader. Okay. All right.
I think the official visit for Michigan is set for June. And then I was trying to find the official for Notre Dame, but if the idea is maybe that he is supposed to
the official for Notre Dame is also June. Okay, June 13th.
That would make sense. Also, so Notre Dame first, June 13th, and the week after would be Michigan. I mean, that's just something where we're gonna have to wait and see, hearing stuff from all different sides. But I completely agree with you. I mean, if we're getting into a checkbook battle, and it is truly a Texas kid deciding between Michigan and Notre Dame, well, I like the chances at the very least.
Yeah, I like Notre Dame's ability to pull in Texas kids more than I do Michigan, at least in recent history. Yeah. Notre Dame's done pretty all right.